it's going to grow my business, right? And I'm not going to have to worry about the money aspect of it.
Yeah, a lot of times I forget what it is to be a consumer because I'm usually the one that's being called upon. Like you said, I'm the sales guy, right? So people are paying me to do a service. So it's not often that I'm having to look out for, let's just say for you, Jason, right? And say, hey, Jason, you're going to be the guy that I'm contacting and I'm going to be the consumer for this transaction, right? So what I saw when I was like reaching out to you was that, okay, just the transparency, right? The you're not calling me 10 times in one day. Hey, we have to lock this in right now.
Yeah.
You have to lock this in right now. You know, so that added pressure when you're buying a home with like the pushiness of like a sales guy, right? And like the not being as transparent as you should be to make the customer like just more at ease. I think that's what kept me away from like buying my first home, my primary, or flipping. So again,
you know, you were heavy into construction, obviously. So I'd like to hear some more about that. And yeah, just kind of blossom into, you know, doing the loan for your primary. And now you're into flipping as well with all the construction stuff. So just, yeah, if you don't mind briefly, just kind of share how you got into construction, kind of what you do, and the process around that.
Yeah, so, you know, my mother and father started the construction company, I mean, well before I was even here, like in the 1980s. First generation, they came here from Mexico, and always grew up in it. So I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. And then as time progressed, got older, there was a shift where, like, you know, in the 80s, 90s, there wasn't so much paperwork and a lot of like legality around construction. And as I started like really taking off, I noticed that there was a lot of stuff happening that my father just didn't want to do. So, you know, he came to me, he's like, hey, can you help me like bring this company to today's like standards, right? So like licensing, incorporating, insurance, workers' comp, all that good stuff. So I did. And that's kind of how I started in the construction process. But I was working with him already since I was like 16, 17, like during summer, and kind of just fell in love with it. And, you know, got our license about maybe at this point, it's like 15 years ago, and have been, you know, moving in construction ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so you've basically been doing it, you know, most of your life, all your adult life, at least. Yeah.
All of my adult life, even when I was going to college, I was still doing construction. That's all I was paying. That's what I was financing my school. But yeah, that's how I got, you know, into construction with my family. They're still all involved. So, as you know, now we do construction, we're doing flips. My dad, my mom, my sister, my brother, we're all still like working in the company, both in the projects that are like for residential clients and also for like our flipping business.
Yeah. And when we talk about construction, just for everybody listening, specifically, we're talking real estate, residential real estate, right? You're not really into the commercial aspect, right? So it's just all residential. And so when we're talking construction, you're doing a lot of remodels, mostly high-end stuff, right? Like bigger projects, and maybe even ground up type stuff sometimes, depending on what that looks like. But and so I'm excited to have you on here because, you know, obviously I work with a lot of realtors too, and I see a lot of flippers. I see a lot of flips when I go visit open houses. And as you and I know very well, sometimes on the like photos, it looks really good. But when you actually get in there, it's not so much. Like, and you find out like, oh, they bought the property for $600,000 2 months ago, and it's already back on the market for like $900,000 or $1 million or whatever it is. And you get in there, and like somebody like me that doesn't necessarily have the eye for it might not pick it up, or like a consumer. But you, as soon as you walk in, you're going to know whether it's a good flip or not, right? So give us a little insight into what goes into like, you know, really quality work, because your work is really good, and there's obviously a difference between that, but it's not necessarily obvious to somebody that doesn't understand the inner workings of it, you know?
I mean, for us, I think it's a labor of love. You know, obviously this is how we feed our family, but I think for example, when even with our clients or specifically with flipping, I never go into the project. I have a budget. I know what the budget is, right? It could be typically our typical budget's about $250,000 to about 270,000.
Mm-hmm.
But I never really look at the numbers because I don't want to worry. I don't want to sacrifice quality because I feel like I'm hitting my budget limit, right? So I have enough experience so that we're able to know if we're going to be a little bit over or under budget. But I really just focus on the product. I'm not going to cheap out on cabinets or cut corners or do anything to save money because at the end of the day, we do it to feed our family. But I think because I grew up in construction with my family in it, it's more of a labor of love. Like I love being in communication with my sister, my brother, my mother, my father as we're doing these projects. And it's like when we're done, it's wow, we're done. We finished the project, and once we finish the project, it's like that's when we go over the numbers, and it's worked out, for us doing it that way, right? Like again, with our experience, I know that I'm not gonna put like Taj Mahal everywhere and do like crazy chandeliers or because we know that it's gonna kill the budget, and it's just we can't do that. But as far as like the integrity of the construction when it comes to framing, plumbing, mechanical, insulation, all the critical components of a house, we never cut into corners. And I think that's usually what I see with flips, but I see them getting in trouble when they can't sell the house.
Yeah.
Right. So they buy cheap, they do cheap work, they, and then people get in trouble.
Yeah.
Right. And for us, I'd rather be in trouble in the sense that we didn't make as much money, but knowing that our product, it's top tier quality.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because for those cheaper jobs, if you're trying to cut corners, is there any liability on your end if the consumer comes back to you, like something they buy the house and something major happens or breaks or whatever from something they did a couple months later? How are you, like if that were to happen to you, for example, are you protected from that, or are you just having to go back out and fix the job because it was cheap work? Like
that's a little tricky, and I'm not a lawyer by any means, but so I've done work for flippers and I've done work on my own development projects, right? So it's interesting because like a lot of times, let's just say I do a cosmetic remodel for the flipper, and they ask me to do things a certain way, right? Cheaper materials, whatever it may be. I'm not sure if the new purchaser has a warranty on that product because I was told to do it that way.
Right.
And then typically the warranty for construction, I don't think it follows the property, it follows the owner, right? Because it's the contract between me and essentially the homeowner at the moment. So if they wanted it that way, I don't know if they can necessarily, the new buyers could come over to me and say, hey, this worked for somebody else.
Yeah.
They wanted to do it this way, but I don't like it. So now I want you to fix it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's...
Yeah, you're probably protected on that because you're doing the flip for the current owner who's the flipper.
Yeah.
Right? And then they're the ones selling the property as is or whatever.
Exactly. So, and then they also throw in the caveat, right?
Yeah.
As is.
Yeah.
Right? So I wonder if the as
those two words protect you from everything, right?
Yeah.
Is, yeah.
So definitely, but that being said, there are things that you can and cannot do by code, right? The city standards of how you're able to construct. So just because even if I have a client that wants me to cut certain corners, I wouldn't do it. Because if I use the wrong material as far as the electrical wiring or for plumbing, then that's not necessarily a cosmetic issue. It's more so like I used the wrong material, something that's not allowed by code. And I think then you could definitely go after the contractor. So I think usually what I see from flippers is that they try to cheap out more so on not doing the repairs at all. So like instead of repiping the whole house, they just repipe for the new fixtures. They use cheaper quality materials. But that's how I see them getting kind of, cutting costs back. So
yeah,
and it's valid, right? You can, if I have a client and they're like, hey, I want you to just, connect new copper lines for my new plumbing fixtures, but not repipe my whole house. It's a valid fix, right?
Right.
But typically when you're selling a home, you want to redo the whole thing because you're going to have issues.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because a lot of these quick flips, right? That you see that they've turned around a house that was, I mean, not in good shape.
Yeah.
And it's back on the market in like, 2 months or less, or like even a month sometimes. Yeah. And you're wondering, especially when you're talking to like permits and things like that you got to potentially pull with the city. If they're not doing, if they didn't do that, if they're just doing cosmetic work, but it's on top of like, 50-year-old piping or something, or the electrical is no good, like, how are you to know? And maybe when the new buyer has their inspection done, what if that gets missed or something in that? Yeah. And it's like, the old adage, like the lipstick on a pig, right?
Yeah.
That's what you have to obviously be careful of, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of like, again, now that I'm in the buying and selling of homes and like investing in real estate, it's shocking how many people actually don't pull the necessary permits.
Yeah.
I would say a great majority of people do that.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's also the market. The markets that I'm in, specifically View Park, Leimert Park, Winter Hills, those pockets, the buyers are actually very educated. So the first thing they go for is like, hey, okay, let me see the permits, let me see the plans, let me make sure that everything was done properly.
Yeah.
But typically, I would say a lot of the quick flips, even in those neighborhoods that you buy for 900, put on the market for 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, they're in and out within like 5 weeks. And there's no way you're able to do that if you're going to pull all the necessary permits.
Right.
But hey, if it works for them.
Well, the other thing with that model, we'll use that word, is I see it a lot too, is like you'll see these properties, they do a quick flip, and the flipper is trying to recoup as much of their investment as possible really quickly to go on to the next project. And a lot of times it's just not priced right. And then you see it sit for a while, and then they start panicking, and they cut the price $100K, and it's still sitting, then they keep cutting it. And since I've known you, and since especially since you've been actually purchasing the properties yourself as the flipper and the developer, that just doesn't happen with your work, I've noticed. So what goes into not just determining like how much a project's going to cost, but determining price point and all that? Like it's pretty obvious that you're doing your homework before you get into a property,
Definitely. So I think there's a lot of ways you could start flipping homes, right? I see a lot of people they work in different cities, and they have to figure out what they have to buy at in La Habra versus Leimert Park versus Long Beach versus Cerritos. What we and the team have done is that we just have a very specific buy box, right? So we work in, again, Leimert Park, Baldwin Vista, View Park, just a few, adjacent little micro cities, right, or towns. And it allows us to know typically what we need to buy at, or we need to buy at, typically what the construction is, and typically what's the sell, right? So it allows us to move rather quickly when we see, how many times do we call you and we're like, hey, Jason, this just came up, right? Pre-qual letter for this amount, because we just know what we need, where we need to be at, right? So typically in the areas that we work in, if you see a deal for like between like $1,050,000 and below, it's a good buy box. It fits our buy box, right? Yeah. Typically, if you're only needing to add 500 square feet or less, it fits our buy box. And usually because we're always building the same kind of square footage, about 1,800, 1,900, 1,700 square feet, we know typically that job's going to cost about $270,000. So we like being hyper focused on those neighborhoods because it makes our homework on a lot easier. Because now we know we have a track record, right? We know that we buy here, this is how much is going to go into it, and this is how much we're going to sell for. So it's very easy for us to move rather quickly because, as you know, like in real estate, like when there's a good deal out there, there's 1,000 flippers and they're all going to go after that house right away. Yeah. Right? So I think that's our advantage, is that we're able to just go after the houses right away because we know where we need to be at. Yeah, and on that note too, now that you're getting pretty established, not just in construction, but flipping as well, you also have a recognizable product, right? How is that helping you when it comes to submitting offers? Like, are you starting to see, I know, for example, his name's escaping me right now, but earlier this year, I think there was a couple properties with the same seller's agent, right? And one had to get put on hold because unfortunately the seller had passed, right? But you worked with him on one after that, and I think that one came back, right? Was it Keith?
was Keith. Yeah, his name was Keith. Yeah.
Yeah. He called you, right? He called you to
He did
verify that.
Yeah.
We were
And,
good.
I mean, and he's saying high praises with you, but he's just a good example. Like as realtors start recognizing your name and your work, is that helping you when it comes to negotiating? Like, oh, this guy's legit.
100%. So again, you got a call before I even knew.
Yeah.
Anthony, our realtor, right? And
Yeah.
he's like, Jason, I think we got this deal. Put this together for us. That happened because we were like one of 4 offers. They saw it that we closed on Falls Grove, 2 on Falls Grove, one on Coliseum, and this Dunsmuir property is maybe like 3 blocks away from one of those properties. So they see the track record. They see that we're that we close on our deals, that we don't go in there with an initial offer of $1 million and then halfway during escrow say no, it's $850 now.
Yeah.
So they see that and they know that we're serious buyers, and it allows us to just have that little bit of the edge, right?
Yeah.
But it comes back to like being hyper focused and in that specific region of LA, right? Same thing with realtors and us. Like a lot of realtors in that neighborhood, they work there mostly. That's like their primary pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just very easy if they recognize us now, right? And they're like, I've seen their work, I've seen what they've done. And also when it comes to like even selling our projects for Northland, we had a buyer not be able to purchase the house on Keniston that we'd sold. And they were like, hey, like, what do you have anything else in this neighborhood coming up? We had Northland.
Mm-hmm.
So within like a day or two of going on the market, they wrote the offer and we closed, right? So
Yeah.
It's helped us on both ends, right? Like buying properties and selling them because we stay focused on just that pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also just going back to like the quality of work as well. And you and I, we have talked about this a ton when it comes to, not taking shortcuts, even if it takes longer to build your business, but doing it the right way. You start putting out this quality work, people know that they're getting something good.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this was a flip, but Gonzalo and his team did it.
Mm-hmm.
I know they didn't take shortcuts. I know it's not going to fall down after I buy the home or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's just going to continue to grow and expand, and like the word gets out. Whereas, if you just get right off, get off on the wrong foot and you're trying to take shortcuts as a new flipper and maximize your profit, just treating it as a transaction, not as like a service for people, and it doesn't go well, I mean, you're not going to be in the business very long, right? So I know that's something that you and we definitely see eye to eye on when it comes to business and relationships and all that. So if you want to expound on like just your mindset around that and how you run your business.
So I think the first thing is that we're very lucky that my wife, shout out to my wife, Athena, she studied to be an architect. She went to Cal Poly Pomona, and if you notice, like if you've seen some of our homes, you've seen them at the end, pictures I'm sure, and the walkthroughs that we've done. She has a very distinct style, but that style comes at a cost. Mm-hmm. It's very expensive,
right,
to actually execute what she designs. But again, I think I don't necessarily know if it's a business model that people could follow, but for us, the important thing is not how much money we make at the end. Right. This is not our only source of income. Like I still do my construction business for my residential clients. And, that essentially pays the bills. Right. That's something that allows us to be more free when it comes to flipping. Mm-hmm. Right. So it really is a labor of love. I love working with my wife, my family. And so when we're putting these designs together, even though there's a budget, we've never sacrificed a finish or a design or changing the layout because we feel like it's too much money, right? And we never. So it's very interesting what we've been able to do because we never buy properties relatively cheap. I've never bought an off-market deal or with a wholesaler or anything like that. It's always been on Redfin.
Right.
Or like I see things on Redfin or my realtors see it on Redfin or the MLS. So it's out there in the open for everybody to see, right? So we typically pay right about the top of what you pay for a property, right? Which is pretty much market value. Mm-hmm. Construction-wise, we pretty much go over budget 80% of the time, 20, 30 grand, like clockwork.
Yeah.
But again, and this is not me trying to like showboat or anything, but we've been able to sell every house for, I think we have the most expensive house, or the highest number that on Northland at 2.25 for the square footage. Like the price per square foot was relatively high.
Mm-hmm.
I think Falls Grove on number 2, we got about $970 a square foot for that house, which, hitting $1,000 a square foot in real estate is actually not. People are always like, that's not even feasible. Like, oh, you're gonna pay $1,000 a square foot.
Yeah.
People don't really go for that, right? But we've been able to do it or close to that, because of our design, not cutting corners, and just really focusing on the product.
Yeah.
Not necessarily how much you're gonna make at the end.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a really important distinction to make, because so many people in real estate, whether you're on the lending side, the realtor side, construction, whatever it is, right, their focus is on making as much money as possible.
Yeah.
Not everyone's like that, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not focused on the money, the ironic part is it just tends to come to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, because again, this is a business and we try to make money, and but we also, that's like the secondary focus, the third focus. I think in working with family is first, putting a product that we love is second, and then whatever we make at the end is last.
Yeah.
But that comes to everything, right? It's purchasing right, not overpaying for a property, not buying a property just because it's cheap, because location, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the things that may be wrong with it. But it's not just the construction, right? It's also like the lending team, like with you and what you do, right? Like I think I told in a call a couple of weeks ago, I don't know if we're flipping if we don't meet.
Yeah.
Because for me, the scary part about doing flips was the actual buying of the property, getting the finances for the property.
Right.
And a lot of lenders that I spoke to, or brokers, it just felt like they were wanting for us to just buy something so they could make money.
Right.
Which I get it, right? We have to feed our families.
Right.
But I feel like if you surround yourself with people like that, it's very hard to build a successful team, right? So I work with you because, I feel like you have my best interest at heart, right? And I know you're going to make money, and that's totally fine. I think the best businesses succeed when everybody's making money.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, we've talked about that too. Yeah. It's a good point. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that, yes, they're just focused on, I gotta make as much money as possible, or oh, cool, this flipper is talking to me. Let's say you, for example, and they start seeing dollar signs like, repeat business, right? He's in the flipping business, and that's all they care about. Whereas like the better way to go about it, and what I try to do is, I'm like, well, how can I help expand his business or maximize his business? Because if I'm able to do that, well, I'm going to win over a client, for the long term, right? And so there'll be repeat business there automatically. Yeah. And then, the money's going to come when it comes. But the true value.
But is it hard? Is it hard for you to reach out to people and tell them because I know you're a good guy, right? So you're looking out for your client. But in construction too, right? So in construction, there's a lot of contractors that come in here and just do horrible work, charge too much, run away with the checks and never come back, won't fix things, right? So it makes people distrust contractors, right?
Yeah.
Is it the same for the lending side?
Yeah. I mean, it's when you pick up the phone and you talk to a lender. I mean, you've talked to a lot of them, right?
Not since I met you.
Probably, maybe not since we met you, but even previously. I remember one of our first. Well, after we met at the open house, I know we went back and forth for a month or two, and you decided it wasn't the right time to buy a primary yet, so you put things on hold. And then when you called me up again, I don't know, it was probably 9-12 months later, whatever it was, and you had said you were talking to a couple others. I think one of them was, I don't remember what company it was, but you had told me what he was quoting you, and then also telling me what your plan was with the property.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why would that guy be charging you as much as he is in points to buy down your interest rate if the idea is not to be in this property long term, right? That was the idea, at least. And as soon as I said that to you, you're like, oh wow, nobody's talked to me about that.
Yeah.
They're just trying to beat the next lender and advertise a lower rate regardless of the cost. And you as the consumer, the thing with that is if you're not on the lending side and you don't understand it, just like I don't understand the construction side, you get sucked in, right? And they get you in, you get your application in, they give you this quote, maybe they don't tell you everything up front or something changes, and then you feel like you're stuck because you're already in escrow, and maybe it's not the best feeling throughout the process, and like you don't feel good about it, right? And you feel like it's just too salesy sometimes. And that's what I try to avoid. I mean, you can't totally avoid it because, let's be honest, we're both in sales. That's just how it works, right? And we do have to make money. We got to feed our families and all that. But you got to find a bigger purpose than just making as much money as you can off of everybody else. Yeah. Right. And it sounds like that's what you've been able to do, because your primary focus is the quality of work that you guys are doing. Yeah. And it probably, now that you're also the flipper side and selling these properties, you probably have gotten some pretty good compliments from buyers. It probably feels good knowing that these people are moving in and making this their home, and they're just like so happy with everything, with the whole process, right? And like for me too, when I get a comment, or a compliment from a buyer after they've closed about just, hey, thank you so much. You made this process so much less stressful. Yeah. We love our home, all that stuff, right? Yeah. It feels good. And that's where my motivation comes from, because if I'm able to do that, it's going to grow my business, right? And I'm not going to have to worry about the money aspect of it.
Yeah, a lot of times I forget what it is to be a consumer, because I'm usually the one that's being called upon. Like you said, I'm the sales guy, right? So people are paying me to do a service. So it's not often that I'm having to look out for, let's just say, for you, Jason, right? And say, hey, Jason, you're going to be the guy that I'm contacting, and I'm going to be the consumer for this transaction, right? So what I saw when I was like reaching out to you was that, okay, just the transparency, right? The you're not calling me 10 times in one day. Hey, we have to lock this in right now. Yeah, you have to lock this in right now. So that added pressure when you're buying a home with like the pushiness of like a sales guy, right? And like the not being as transparent as you should be to make the customer like just more at ease. I think that's what kept me away from like buying my first home, my primary, or flipping. So again, when I met you, it was just like, okay, yeah, like, he's chill guy. He's gonna tell me what we need to do, as opposed to what's gonna make him more money, right? And as soon as that happened, we bought the primary. I think we bought our primary first before we even started buying and selling. Yeah. And then like the choice was obvious, right? As soon as we felt like it was the right time for us to like invest in properties. I mean, again, Jason, what can we do? Right. Yeah. But again, it's great, right? Because it's just so easy to talk to each other. Yeah. And I think that's so important, again, to build a successful team around you, right? Right. I know construction and I know how to buy properties, right? But I'll never know, and I can't know. I don't have the bandwidth to like do what you do and try to control what my realtor does. Right. Right. So that's where you have to like really have the proper team in place, right, to make the whole transaction work. Yeah. Right. So it's not just one thing. It's not just construction. It's lending, construction, and your realtor. Right. Right. And look, we've been fortunate enough to find, Daria and Anthony, who are great at what they do as well. So, it's kind of been snowballing since we started. Yeah. I mean, it makes everything, it's already difficult enough on the business side to get everything done. If you got the added stress of, your realtor or lender or anybody else that's not in alignment with you, it's just going to add to your stress, right? And it's not going to be a fun process. Sometimes you got to tell me no, right? Sometimes you have to tell me, hey, man, like, we can't do these terms. They're not good for you. They right. What's going on? No, like, let's change it up. Let's ask for it. Let's change it up a little bit. Which again shows me that I could trust this guy, because if it was just about the check, sure, I'll write it up. Right. Yeah. Tomorrow, 10 days. Oh, yeah. I mean, if I can see like, oh, this is probably not a good deal. He's not going to make much money on this, but let's do the loan anyway and just get him to do. Yeah, you're fine. Go for it. Yeah. No, because it's about helping your business, right? Because if I'm able to help your business, then in turn it's going to help my business, right? Yeah. But it's also it's on the consumer's timeline too. So, for you, for example, if we're talking a project, or if we're talking a refinance or whatever it is,
we'll game plan, and I'll give you my experience and knowledge in regards to, hey, these are the steps you need to take to be ready if you're not right this moment.
Yeah.
But it's ultimately up to you. It's going to be your decision. But if that timeline is 6 to 12 months out, so be it. I'm going to tell you that because I want it to be like the best situation for you. Like, hey, you could probably force this right now. It might not be the best situation for you though, but if we take 6 to 12 months, you're going to be more ready at that time.
Yeah.
Right. And you probably experience that too when it comes to like construction. Like, let's say not on the flipping side, on the construction remodel side for current homeowners, right? Hey, here's my professional recommendation regarding what you guys want to do, but you might be overstretching your budget a little bit. Here's what we can do over here, as opposed to just, ooh, yeah, let's try to get as much money out of these people as possible. I'll quote them this. It's going to go up $50K by the end, but they don't know that yet.
Yeah.
They're going to be in too deep. A lot of people, it's kind of sad, but a lot of people do that, right?
A lot of people do that. And then, you're right. I think in construction, being a contractor, the key part of being a contractor is obviously being able to do the work and doing quality work. But I think another important pillar is having a contractor that's honest, right? That's not going in here. Again, same thing, right? Transparency. You want to be transparent. You want to be like, hey, look, I can't do this for free. And if you do this, you're going to have to do something else. And then you're probably getting another 30, 40 grand. And are you sure you want to go down that path, right? And I think a lot of times, again, I just find it easier. The client's either going to say, I'm okay with, adding another $40,000, $50,000 to the project, as opposed to like not telling them. And then when we get there, they get sticker shocked and it's like, oh wow, $40,000. I'm like, I can't pay for that. I don't have the money for that. And it just becomes a headache.
Yeah.
So I just don't understand, why people go down that route, like in any business, right? For me, it's more about transparency and just communication and
relationship building, right?
Yeah.
Because the other way is just transactional.
Yeah.
You're just seeing like, oh, a paycheck, but as opposed to the person, right?
100%. So it's funny, right? Because you asked about my socials, right? And I'm like, dude, like I don't have any. Like I have like a couple pages that I've started and I posted here and there, but honestly, like all of my business comes from referrals.
Yeah.
Because it's just relationship based, right? They were like, hey, okay, like, for example, true story. This just happened over the weekend. My client emailed me a check. Mailed me a check, right, for $30,000. The UPS office, they lost it. Somebody changed the name on it, and they put like whatever crazy name, and they cashed it, right?
Oh my god!
Like it was like 30 grand, right? So I called them. They're like, hey, like I never got the check, and they're like, oh, they checked and they saw everything happen, right? And they were like super worried about it. And they were like, oh my God, Gonzalo, like I owe you money. And then we just lost 30,000. I was like, hey, look, don't worry about the money for me right now. We'll figure that out later. It's Thanksgiving weekend anyway. So like, just enjoy your time and hopefully fix this first. And I think that's just like that understanding that, hey, I'm not just after the money. I'm not after the check. And, you're people too, you're humans and stuff happens. I think it just allowed them to like move quicker through the process and they were able to get their money back.
Oh yeah.
Right? But construction is very expensive. And I think for me, and I think for a lot of contractors, we forget how hard it is for somebody to hand you a $30,000, $50,000, $70,000 check. Yeah. Right. And I think that's one thing that, now that I'm kind of like on the other side too, as well as being a flipper and I'm cutting the checks to the drywaller, to the roofer, to the stucco, it's like, it's very important to really communicate with your clients and make them feel comfortable enough to give you these checks and they trust you enough to know that you're going to provide the service that they're paying you for. And, I think that's been the successful kind of like our success route because, people know that we're not in here trying to make as much money as possible. We are truly trying to create like a home for that family. Right. And it works, man. I don't know. Like I'm just lucky. Honestly, I'm just lucky that this is a family business and I love working with my family and it translates to everything else. Right. So it just becomes easy. Yeah. Right. I'm not waking up thinking this is how I make my money. Yeah. I wake up thinking like, okay, this is going to be another fun day.
I do love working with my wife. Yes. But I don't work as closely as, let's say, you do with Athena. So just to, plug Athena's business a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's Studio Barnhouse, right? Haus. So she's got her own design company, right? And like you mentioned, she went to architectural school, and I'm sure there's a high level of trust there with her. I mean, she's your wife, right? And if you just want to elaborate on that experience, just being able to rely on her with her expertise in architecture and design.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great working with Athena, and I think seeing how good she is at what she does, for her, design is her passion, like her ultimate passion. She's like, for me, it's construction, because I grew up doing it with my family. So for her, I think it's the same passion. And I think it's been great just being able to see her really put out her creativity, in our projects, right? So a lot of times for her, her clients tell her what they want and what the vision is, right?
Right.
So it's been really fun to see her kind of like expand her creativity, because with our flips, we just have full control over what we're going to put out there.
Right.
So working with her has definitely been great. Trust her, and she really takes the liberty and just kind of like creative control for the projects, which kind of helps me too, right? Because like I said earlier, I said it's like, it's very oversimplified, but lending, construction, realtors, right? But like in every one of those stages, there's like subcategories. Yeah. And I think for construction, design and construction go hand in hand, right? Because, somehow we have to stand out from like the other 50 houses that are on the market within a mile radius, right? So I think that's
not just that, but standing out from the other flippers out there too. Yeah. Right? Because, and I got to say too, the projects that you've completed, and I see them, go online and hit the MLS and look at the pictures on Zillow. I'm blown away, honestly. Like, it is like it's amazing design work that I could never even dream of thinking up, right? Yeah. It's really high quality work. And that one open house that I went to, was that Falls Grove?
That's Falls Grove, yeah.
And you end up getting the one next door too, right? Yeah. But that first one that I actually went to, and the first one I went to and saw in person, it was like amazing work. So having that team behind you, it just knowing that, it's just, that's what you need to really have a successful business here, right? It's not just one piece and like hoping for the best, right? Because then you're not able to stand out. So, it's like, it's just top notch, and it's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's, again, there's a lot of competition out there in any business, right? Yeah. And it's just like a perfect storm with us, like with you helping us with the lending, Athena with the design, Daria and Anthony with the selling of the homes, and it's just been really, really great. And also our partners, Judith and James, who are always out there looking for deals as well. We've talked to James as well. So it's just a great team effort, and I've enjoyed everything. I've enjoyed every part of the journey, working with my wife, my family, Jason, you, Jason, Anthony, Daria. It's a lot of us, man. It's when you really think about it, there's a lot of people that are making this a real success story, right? It's not just like me or you or Athena. It's like all of us together, man.
Takes a village, right?
Yeah, it's the village. Yeah. So it's been, and I think also too, as we're, again, not an expert in flipping by any means. We've been flipping now for like maybe actually being the ones acquiring the property, maybe now 3 years.
I think so. Yeah, around there. Yeah.
But we started kind of JVing since like the year 2020, like 2019, I think was our first project. So even like just seeing everybody grow from like every house, like, talking about my wife, and designing Falls Grove, right, to like our current one, which was like, I think Northland, the evolution of that design and like the what we've able to like build as a contractor, but also design, man, like it's just exponential growth. And it's been really, really fun to see, man. I'm like a fan of construction in general, right? So like just seeing that, it's like really what motivates me to see what we could do next,
Yeah. Well, it's been cool for me to see from not the sidelines, if you will, but like outside of the construction part, when you buy the property, and I'll see the pictures online, like I was saying, and then to see the finished project, and like, Kip as well, like when he looks at them, he's like, wow, like, did you see Gonz's latest work? Like, it's incredible, and it pays off too, because then all of a sudden we're hearing that you guys put it on the MLS as coming soon next weekend, but you already got an over asking offer and it hasn't officially hit the market yet.
Yeah.
And that's happened multiple times now, right?
Times, yeah.
So, I mean, and that's confirmation right there. But anything else like, oh, wow, we're doing some solid work here, and it's very satisfying and fulfilling, right?
Yeah.
It's really cool to see.
Yeah, and what's funny too, like when we first started flipping, it was kind of like, okay, maybe because it's really fun to just have like creative control and everything. Oh, this is probably the way for us to just kind of like decrease the volume of like homeowner projects and just focus on doing our own things so we can be creative.
Yeah.
And it actually backfired, which I love anyway, because I love talking to people. As you know, when we chat for hours.
Yeah.
It's kind of backfired because now people see the home and they don't want to sell their home. They just want us to design their home, build their home for them. So it's actually like exploded our construction business to like, more projects than ever before. And it kind of like, what I thought was going to be the evolution of our business kind of like changed, because so many people came to us during the open houses like, hey, I love the house. I'm not a buyer, but can I talk to the designer? Can I talk to the contractor?
Yeah.
And, that gave us a lot more projects as well.
Yeah.
People just, want to recreate what we did for that particular home.
Yeah. 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 Very cool. I think we got probably, Corey, maybe like 10 minutes or so, 10, 15 minutes.
You got 5.
5 minutes. Okay.
5 minutes.
Okay. So to wrap up, I wanted to ask you, you probably have heard this from realtors as well, but like if you were talking to a homeowner that wanted to sell a property, for example, and they wanted to, spruce it up with a little remodel for like resale value, or maybe they're not selling, whatever. You just want to maximize the value. You come in, like what are things that maybe not quite dollar for dollar, but what's the maximum like return, I guess, when it comes to doing a remodel? Because like you hear like, oh yeah, that'll look really nice, but that doesn't add a whole lot of value to your home.
Yeah.
Right. So what are things that you focus on to help out sellers, for example, or just homeowners to really maximize their property value?
I think that's kitchens, bathrooms are typically the ones that really get people to kind of pay more for your home if they really like your kitchen, if they like your bathrooms. And I think just paint. Paint goes a long way.
Yeah.
When you walk into a house that's been freshly painted, I mean, I'm talking about a good paint job too, right?
Right.
Like a lipstick on the pig type.
Yeah.
But like a good paint job, it just feels very fresh. It feels very like welcoming, versus like scuffs on the wall. So I would say definitely first is kitchen, second is bathrooms, and third would be like, just a nice coat of painting, like, around the house.
Yeah.
It really goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a contractor, sometimes I'm like, oh no, what about the roof? What about like, other more technical things? But I think even for me, like it's funny because like when I bought my first home, I bought a fixture, right? Because I did construction, but the idea was like, okay, but wow, we could do an amazing kitchen here. We could do a great bathroom here, right? So like even I became like a consumer, right? Like and I was like, oh no, but like the vision of what we could create here, and it's usually kitchen and bathrooms.
Yeah. Well, kitchen for sure. Obviously, you're spending a lot of time, with family or socializing in the kitchen and all that. So, well, what are some that maybe not that you want to avoid, but it would probably be like the last thing that you'd want to do because it's not adding a lot of value? I know you mentioned roof.
Well, I think roof could definitely help out a lot to like sell your home at market value, but I don't know if they're going to give you over what you want because of that.
Yeah.
But I would say like maybe like the driveway, general landscaping, probably even flooring.
Okay. Yeah. See, I wouldn't realize that about flooring.
Yeah.
Just depending, obviously, right?
Yeah, because it depends, right? If you're gonna like, if you're just asking like a homeowner, right? Like, let's just say me as a homeowner, we all have different taste, right? So, I feel like even like with kitchens and bathrooms, you kind of want to like do something that's like, it's tricky, right? Because if it's your home, you probably just want to give it your own personal touch. But typically, like you want to stick to like the taupe colors, the soft, warmer colors, because I feel like that's like everybody loves those palettes. So like definitely like I've seen people do like red cabinets, green cabinets. They're great, they look great if you love them, awesome. But a lot of times that might not appeal to the masses.
Yeah,
which can create an issue. When you're trying to sell a home. When you helped me refinance my home. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do my landscaping. I'm gonna do my my final fence, my driveway, garage door, and that really didn't appraise much. It didn't really show much on the refinance, but the actual kitchen did, the bathroom did, you know, the actual parts inside of the home really did.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well, cool. Well, I think we're just about out of time here.
It was fun.
Real quick, just want to plug you a little bit. I'm always going to recommend you if anybody ever needs a remodel or anything. But like as far as areas you work in, you've got your specific area for flipping, right?
Yeah.
That's where you're establishing your brand, so to speak. But when it comes to just your construction residential products or projects, excuse me, obviously LA County. How far out do you venture though? You know, like are you down in Orange County or do you go out to the Inland Empire at all?
Yeah. So we definitely work like all the way, like I think the furthest we go is like Irvine, you know, all the way down to like Oxnard. It's kind of like the parameters, all the way to Pasadena and you know, like Riverside.
Okay.
So like we do like a vast, like we do like a huge portion of LA. I would say if you're in LA County, we'll probably go to you if you need us. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have like a minimum project that you would need to, you know, to obviously, especially if you're traveling and all that, or do you just take it case by case?
No, case by case. Okay. Obviously, if it's a small project and it's really far away because we're coming from further, it'd be more expensive. So you probably want to find a local contractor there.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, if you think we're the right fit for your project, big or small, LA County, we could be there.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Very cool. Well, if anybody needs any, you know, home improvements, remodels, any questions regarding flipping, please reach out to Gonzalo. He's the best I've come across in my real estate and lending career. You can reach out to me for his contact info. We'll get your contact info out there as well on the videos. Get your, you know, we'll get some clips up there, you know, on Athena's page as well for the design.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining us, Gonzalo. Appreciate it as always. Yeah.
It was fun to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Very cool. Thanks.
Awesome.
Yep.